And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we want to welcome you all to the Hello Plaza, the Hello Pivot in the Metaverse. That you guys should definitely come and join us in the Metaverse and be a part of this amazing conversation. I can promise you that you do not want to miss today's conversation with our amazing guest, Miss Carla Hooker. She'll be joining us here in a little bit. But I have my other amazing half, Miss Tara, with me. And if you guys don't know, the Hello LLC stands for Helping Entrepreneurs Leverage Leading Web3 Optimizations. And it's really about wanting more for you than from you at the end of the day, and leading you into the future, because the future's already here. And this week we had an amazing conversation. If you guys don't know about our weekly events that take place on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then of course today, you need to buckle up, buttercups, because it's happening all the time. And we're giving away a whole bunch of knowledge, a whole bunch of goodies, and a whole bunch of funny interaction between us. And so, love, after this week, what would you share with the people, on what you learned, especially through this week's, helpful how-to and our Wisdom Wednesdays?
Well, first of all, welcome on in, everybody. It's so good to be here with you guys on our Hello Pivot Live Thursdays. Monday. Monday was a great day because it's our day off. There you go. That's what I learned this week. Actually, Tuesday was a great conversation about 20 ways to monetize within Metaverse, and just the breakdown of understanding about how really there's so many different ways, more than 20 ways, but being able to, like, when we had an artist jump in, somebody who actually is a songwriter, someone who's a singer, when we have different people that jump in from the healthcare side, and all of these different arenas allows us to really hone down and kind of say, well, you could do this and you can do this. And it's so exciting to see people kind of have that connection to go, oh my goodness, this is what the reality of Metaverse is and what we can do in it, And so, of course, yesterday was a conversation that I was having, and, David obviously was there, but it is my bread and butter, anything that's fintech, anything that's a cryptocurrency related. So we jumped in that. And the beautiful thing, I'll say this, something that we provide as a community or to our community is knowledge and value. So a lot of times when people hear or see like a cryptocurrency room happening, and that's because the reason I'm using the word cryptocurrency is because that's the word we used yesterday. People automatically freak out and think they're going to lose, like someone's pushing, they want them to buy something, they want them to invest, and it's like, that's not what this room is. We do not do any investment advice because that's not our role. But the way that we do the lay of the land and lay things out so people can go, oh, well, here's first base. This is the bat. This is my glove. That's the ball. If I hit it over that fence, it's a home run. And being able to lay those mechanics out so people have an understanding and to then plug it into the information. Or maybe they do have a community that, is doing day trading and they're excited about that. This just adds the value of knowledge to it. So really this week is just identifying how much knowledge and value we do pour out into the community, so people can get ahead and you don't even have to pay for it. So yeah, that's what I got, Mr. Jones.
And especially, if you guys don't know, we have our Helpful How-To Tuesdays that take place at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, PM, of course, right? That you guys can join us for Helpful How-Tos. And it's always about tips and tricks and strategies to upgrade your business, leverage your business, monetize your business, and to be able to believe in yourself, more importantly, to just press the button. And this week we had an amazing conversation of socialize and monetize 20 ways to leverage the metaverse that you guys can join in from your phone, from your laptop, from your iPad, from your VR headsets. And you guys definitely need to go to our Biz in a Box because we have a brand new actual free guide that you guys can go and download and get 20 ways to monetize your business in the metaverse. And that's the list that we went over, that I don't care if you're an author, I don't care if you're a coach, I don't care if you are a musician, you definitely need to be implementing your business into the metaverse and leverage your business into the metaverse, especially knowing that we're on a global experience and more people want these experiences. And then that's when we led into our Wisdom Wednesday, where we had a conversation of crypto adoption. Will the traditional money, become obsolete in the next 3 years? And Tara dropped some major facts. As you guys know, we talk about facts, not your feelings, not your opinions, not your broke brother-in-law that's voting on American Idol from last year, right? sitting on the couch eating Cheetos, telling you what to do. And more importantly, us listening to other people that aren't doing it, that don't know anything about it, but they have this stigmatism or they have this feeling about it that then really upsets who you are. And that's why we remind people to be aware of your surroundings, because your surroundings tell your story sets your standards put in your sacrifices, which then ultimately comes down to that self-discipline that we continue to talk about, especially where we're at in our business. And then that good old conversation with the soul and being able to meditate, being able to take care of your health, because your health is your wealth. And more importantly, being able to be authentic with yourself. And we know we hear the word authentic, and a lot of the times people just say that because it's a cliche word. It's a trigger word that gets people's attention. Although we talk about authenticity, we really need to have our authenticity and really express that. And that is really what our rooms are about, is being authentic and being real and being raw. If you guys don't know about our podcast, Getting Naked, you definitely need to go check out our season 3, our episode 1 that we just dropped last Friday. The next episode is on July 5th. So after your hangover, after you're sitting on the couch chilling or whatever, come join us in the Metaverse in our studio in the Hello Plaza and be a part of our podcast. Unlike any other traditional podcast, you got to go and listen on Spotify. You got to download this. You got to do that. You literally can come be a part of this conversation, and you too can, build your community as well. And so that's really what we did this week, and are very excited for this week's special guest, Ms. Carla Hooker, that's going to be joining us here in a little bit. But love, one of the things that we did talk about is learning how to say no. And a lot of the times we say yes to the things that we should be saying no to. And we say no to the things that we should be saying yes to. And so this is really where we encourage you guys to really open up that closed mind, that closed mouth, that closed heart, and open up your hand to invest, to get yourself ahead of the curve. And that's why we talked about the future, and we continue to talk about it in different strategies. So, with that being said, you got anything to add before we bring up Miss Carla?
It's that learning how to say no, and that really a lot of people don't know how to do that. We didn't, for a long time, and it was because it's learning the value of no. No is not what we're used to growing up with. No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't touch that. It's more understanding of how you as an adult now need to be able to protect your boundaries. And if you're committing and saying yes to everything, then your boundaries as a human are way out of balance. And then that's creating more headache for you, because a lot of times what we do is we say yes to things that we don't want to say yes to. And we do it because of the people pleasing in us. And we have to just say, you know what? Thank you so much for the invite. I actually have something else already, a prior commitment and engagement that I can't, commit to this. But I do appreciate, please keep me in mind in the future. There's a way to say no instead of saying, no, leave me the hell alone. You know what I mean? So it's understanding the value of being able to politely put it, but to also understand to where you're protecting your, energy, your boundaries. And guess what? You're not hurting the other person's feelings when you give them a direct answer, because now we are not in the wishy-washy gray area where they're trying to figure out, well, are they in? Are they out? And, because that leaves that open energy of a maybe, or, yeah, I'll do it, but I might have to check this and check that. When you do that, that creates an energy drain for you and for them, and it just exhausts everybody. So it's either a yes and you're fully committed, or it's a no, I'm sorry, I have a prior engagement. I can't make that work in my schedule. So
yeah.
It really is beneficial for everyone.
Yeah. And even more importantly, saying no and not say yes, and not drag people along and, give them the traditional BS that we just don't want to say no. So just be upfront and honest with people, especially setting the right expectations. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we want to introduce you all to our special guest, Miss Carla Hooker. She is an actual entrepreneur. She's an author. She's a dance educator. She's a pageant coach. She's a sickle cell, survivor, as well as helping out disability. And more importantly, she's born in Washington, D.C. She started ballet training at the renowned Art Linkletter Tootin Dance Studio under Miss Dolly Austin, which is amazing. Her pain became her passion, opening up Carla Kids in 1990 and winning multiple awards. And she has an amazing new book out, The Change Volume 20, Insights into Self-Empowerment. And Miss Hooker, it is a pleasure to have you here with us today, ma'am. What else do the people need to know that I did not share about you in your intro, ma'am? Talk to us.
Mr. David, I think you have covered everything. You make me sound fantastic. Thank you.
I want to know this person. Who is that person? I don't need to know that person.
That's right. Absolutely. Who is that? I'm excited to be here, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to jump right in here. Thank you so much for being here. We love having you. We want to know, how did growing up in the DC and Maryland area really shape your love for dance? First of all, kudos to you, because I always wanted to dance, but I never got there.
I was always getting into stuff. So my parents decided to find something that would help drain some of that energy. And they decided to put me into dance. The dance bus or van would pick me up from my daycare center, Rehoboth Baptist Daycare, and take me to these classes at Art Linkletter. One day they forgot to pick me up, and then when it hit them, it was late. So I missed my original classes with the kids my age, the toddlers, and ended up in a class with older kids. No, I could not hang with them. I didn't know what I was doing, but the way Miss Dolly Austin always encouraged me, I felt like I could do anything, even a cartwheel. And I still can't do a cartwheel to this day, but the way she encouraged me and cheered me on when I did my little bunny hop, I thought I was Nadia Comaneci. So, that's how I got my start. My parents were looking for something to do to keep me out of trouble, to keep me busy, and to drain my energy to keep from draining them. So that's how it all got started.
Absolutely. I remember, going to summer camp at my auntie's house, and all I looked excited for was the cookies that they had at Bible study. That was it. So, one of your story is absolutely amazing, especially after you dealt with your health issues and, you went on to develop, Carla's Kids. What inspired you to build this organization that is still prospering and still building to this day?
David, I was on bed rest for a year. I had, without being too technical and confusing people with all the medical terminology, I had what's called a pilonidal cyst on my tailbone with an abscess on top of that. So once the doctors found out that I had that, I had to go into the doctor's office every day and get it drained and then packed. So literally I had my butt packed. And it took a year to heal from that. My brother Wayne, my late brother Wayne, before he went off into the Navy, he took care of me. He was my caregiver at the young age of, I was about 20 years old. And after being bedridden for a year, I was like, I'm not going back to school. And my parents were like, what are you talking about? You're talking crazy. But somehow I convinced them, as I'm always good at convincing people of something that I want. I convinced them that my way was going to be better. And I needed to do something different with my life at that time. So I talked to the principal I got a job at my mom's school. I talked to the principal there and told her I wanted to do something different. And I started an after-school cheer program. I started an after-school marching unit. It ended up being 100 kids in the marching unit. And then from there, when I was asked to do something special for Black History Month, I asked them, could I do anything I wanted? And that's when I pulled from the dance skills and put together, from my cheerleading squad, I formed Carla's Kids Musical Ministries School of Liturgical Dance. And we did a performance there. I did not know at the time that they were going to be commissioners from the DC Arts and Humanities there. and they saw the performance. We got a standing ovation from everyone in the crowd, not just the students, not just the teachers, the commissioners, and also the parents who were there. And from that, we started touring all over Washington, D.C. and the entire D.C. area.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's amazing how, being able to have the impact of just doing you, being authentically in your own right. And even if that's what you were going to do for the rest of your life or just that part, how, the commissioner shows up and how that just impacts. And we are huge advocates that when people are doing what they really are supposed to be doing, that things just kind of fall in place a lot easier for them than when they're pushing that boulder up the hill, So,
Absolutely.
Speaking of dance, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. So speaking of dance, how have you been able to use dance, or how have you been able to help others, use dance to tackle issues like drugs or violence, or maybe a not such a good home, environment, or like you said, to burn some energy off to keep you out of trouble that could have shown up?
I've been able to use dance to prevent or deter kids from being involved with drugs and violence, because they know my expectations. They know that I expect excellence. They also know that I've never used drugs. And I make that clear to them. I've never even smoked a cigarette. My father had me so afraid. My father was a police officer, and he had me so afraid to even think about, if I even thought about wanting to strike a match, I couldn't. That's probably why I can't strike a match now. I have to get the little, I call them little torches if I want to light a candle, because he drilled that in me, that you better not smoke, you better not do this, you better not use drugs, or I'm going to kick your butt. So I have that same approach with the kids that I work with, but they know that it's out of love, and I'm proud of that. And they didn't want, most of the kids never wanted to disappoint me, nor disappoint themselves and their parents. So that's how I use dance to do it. I kept them busy enough that all the outside influences that were surrounding them in their environment, in their neighborhood, didn't affect them. They were focused on dance and making a difference wherever we went.
That's awesome. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember, the dares. I remember, don't do this, don't do that. My parents scared the Jesus out of me on that as well. But I'll never forget the time. My sister's not going to like this. I'll never forget the time my sister decided that she was going to smoke my dad's cigarettes. And I don't know what she was thinking, but she decided to smoke them inside the house. And I was like, why do you go outside and smoke them outside? Like, you can tell. And then, not only did she do one, but she did two. And I'm like, what are you thinking? And so, when you said the cigarettes, I'll never forget that, that moment. Let's just say.
It must be a girl thing. I did the same thing.
You did the same thing?
I was too afraid, Tara. I'm sorry. I was too afraid.
My dad was a smoker.
Okay.
I know, but my dad was a smoker, and I was just like, what? I mean, I hated the smell of them. So, like, why did I not think that they were going to taste good? Like, I was like, oh, yeah, they're going to taste great, but I hate the smell of them. And so I did the same thing. But I went to my dad and got a new pack, and I opened up a new pack thinking that if I opened up the new pack and just set it by the table side where he left his cigarettes all the time, he would just be like, oh, yeah, that's my pack. Like, now, a smoker knows how many packs of cigarettes they have. But anywho, I did the same thing, and then couldn't figure out why my dad knew immediately that I had tried that. And then literally his resolution was, like any baby boomer or older generation X, is, well, you're going to sit down and smoke the whole pack then. Oh my God, I couldn't even get through like 3 puffs of one, and I'm puking and throwing up everywhere. And that turned me off from smoking the rest of my life to this day. No.
Well, as we continue to be bad influences, kids, don't do it, right?
No.
Do not do it whatsoever. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Trust me, especially the health risks. But, speaking of, children and being a good influence, what would be a great, success story that you could share from, your children and your students?
I have three that I always think of. Three kids always pop into my head, but there are several. I have one. She was always getting into something. Her name's Ebony Ty. She is a professional dancer. Out of all the kids that I've taught, she is the only one that I know of who has become a professional dancer and has danced and done work with several celebrities, from Beyonce to Angie Stone to, I mean, it's so many people. She even was helping with the choreography for So You Think You Can Dance. She was so hard-headed, she wouldn't listen to hardly anybody, but she was really sweet. But she was just constantly getting into stuff, and she would show off so badly that my dad was like, put her out. And I was like, no, I see something in her. And he was like, what, the devil? And I was like, no, I'm telling you, I see something. And he was like, Carla, you are crazy. One bad apple is going to ruin the whole bunch, but it's on you. When you mess up your whole day in school, don't worry about it. Now, of course, later she grew into her, to her own, and the behavior stopped. And she is a really sweet child, young lady. She still calls me mom. I'm her dance mom for life. She was my daughter before I even had my daughter. So that's one success story right there. And I'm really, really proud of her. I'll tell you about another. I have another who has make her own cosmetic line out with lipsticks and lip glosses. She is also a minister, and she used to tattle on everybody all the time. So now with her being a minister, I'm like, she was prepared. She was already preparing herself for that career choice.
Jesus, I got something to tell you.
Right, always got something to tell you. Now she's going to tell you about the Lord. And I have another young lady.
Yeah.
Her name is Anna. Anna got mad at me one day and went to go tell her mama on me. Brought her mama down to beat me up at rehearsal. And once I told her mom, look, I told her, if you're going to do something, do it well or don't do it at all. And her mom was like, that lady is crazy. Carla's crazy and you're crazy. Get your butt back over there with the rest of the kids. You're not going anywhere. Well, Anna ended up playing in the WNBA. And I'm really proud of that. She still calls me Ma to this day. And, I'm proud of all of my kids. Let me tell you about one young gentleman. His name is Nathan Gwathmey. He goes by Nate G now, but I still call him Nathan. Nathan, in the 6th grade, won the BET Talent Search and $500 and a trophy almost as big as he was at the time. So it's stories like that I'm really proud of.
That's awesome. And you have a little. Go ahead, love. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, speaking of children, how many like total kids over the years have you, a rough estimate, that you've coached and taught dance?
It's thousands, because while I had Carla's Kids going in classes through Carla's Kids, I also worked for the DC Department of Parks and Recreation every summer from about 2000 to 2004. And some centers could have as many as 100 kids, 150 kids that I was teaching dance to. I taught 8 to 9 centers a day, 5 days a week in the summers. And I dragged my daughter along with me in tow. So it has to be thousands. I don't have an exact amount because of that, but I'm really proud of being able to work with DC Parks and Recs. I also worked with Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, and I taught dance there through their classes. So I have no idea. Only God knows that answer.
Yeah, thousands. I love it. That's beautiful.
Thousands.
So, as we continue to talk about, the dance studio and things of that sort, can you explain to us exactly what it is that Carla Kids does? Because I just did a live earlier today that, marketing is sharing with people what your business does and that they can understand it. And branding is for you to continue to showcase and continue to be consistent of talking about it. So share with us, what is Carla's Kids?
Carla's Kids is not just a dance school, but it's a ministry where we minister to the community through dance. from its inception back in 1990, I began taking kids into nursing homes, to other schools out in the community, to people's family reunions, to the Capitol Center. It's now the US Air Arena. We even danced at the Washington Hebrew congregation for Rabbi Weinberg and his wife, Isla, at the time. We were just dancing everywhere and just spreading joy and love through dance. People used to compare us to the Dance Theater of Harlem, and I thought that was a big honor. And at its inception, I kept telling the children, one day we're going to meet Arthur Mitchell. And I kept speaking that until I finally spoke it into existence. But Carla's Kids teaches life skills. We are a family. We love on one another, including the parents learn to have new friendships with one another. We do slumber parties. We have pizza parties. We take the kids so that they can see the Dance Theater of Harlem backstage, so they get that experience. We take them to the Temple Theater here in Sanford, North Carolina, so they can see what it's like to have to put on a full production from backstage with the lighting. They learn a little bit of everything. They learn about lighting, sound, all the aspects of production as well. So it's not just a regular, ordinary dance school. It's a family, it's a ministry, it's a learning experience, David.
I love it. I love it. So, go ahead, Lev.
Oh, I was just going to say, apologize for the lag there with me interrupting, but I was just going to, share about, when you talked about the Dance Theater of Harlem, can you share more about the impact that has had on not only the community, but with Carla's Kids, and maybe even talk about maybe the scholarship side that, was able to help you and others?
Absolutely. I kept saying that I was going to meet Arthur Mitchell. I always looked up to Arthur Mitchell, and I loved the ballerinas from the Dance Theater of Harlem since I was a little girl. My mom exposed me to a lot, and so did my dad. Well, my mom saw in the newspaper that in the Washington Post that Arthur Mitchell was coming to the DC area, and he was looking for kids this time for a new dance residency program with the John F. Kennedy Center. So I was like, we're going. So I scraped up my little bit of chump change that I had in my bank account at the time and went to a store called Morton's over in Eastover. I took all the leotards I could find, t-shirts, pants that were on the dollar rack, tights, and my mom and I stayed up all night the night before dyeing tights with coffee, because back then you couldn't go to the store like you can now and purchase Capezio tights or whatever different brand and different shades of tights that they have now for dancers. We also were up spraying ballet shoes all night, me and my mom, because I know that Mr. Mitchell, it was always important for him and the Dance Theater of Harlem to have tights and shoes that matched the complexion of each dancer so that there would be one continuous line on stage. You wouldn't have a brown face and then pink legs, or brown face, brown arms, and then orange legs. Everything flowed, and it made the aesthetics of the choreography just flow a whole lot better. So I took the kids to audition, but 4 of them were really too young. And I just told them, look, you're not 10, but you're going to be 10 today. So if he asks you how old you are 10. If you make it, then we'll tell the truth. But right now, I know I told you we don't lie, but we're going to lie today. Got it? So I drilled that in all of them, Tara. I hear you laughing. I drilled it in them. You are 10. I don't care if they say, oh, you look really small for your age. I'm 10, and you're going to be 10 today. So they all auditioned. I took 18 children, and the 4 that made it were the 4 youngest who were not 10. And I was like, oh boy. And they kept saying, he wants to meet you. He wants to meet you. He wants to meet you. And I said, yeah, he tells everybody that. He probably tells everybody that. Don't get too excited. Long story short, I got an invitation to the Kennedy Center for a teacher symposium. I was really excited about going, but then my uncle passed and his funeral, military funeral, got rescheduled for the same day. But I was like, okay, it's early enough. I'll make it in time. Long story short, everything ran behind schedule with the military. And I just threw up my hands like, I'm not going. And my late brother Wayne, that we call Seal, said, I'll go get your dress from the dry cleaners. You're going to get dressed at Aunt Lena's and you're going. I said, I'm late. He said, so what? Just show up and go. And I'm glad I listened to him. I got up to the Kennedy Center. I'm trying to find everybody. I tiptoe in. There's one seat left, and it's by my friend Fabian Barnes, my late friend Fabian Barnes, who founded the Dance Institute of Washington. Fabian did like this, and I went on and sat down. And then I heard Mr. Mitchell go, all right, well, I'm about to wrap it up. One last question. I was disappointed, but then Fabian pushed me back in my chair, and he started whispering down the row, she's here. The guest is here. And I was like, oh, great. I can't wait to meet the guest. So Mr. Mitchell wrapped everything up. He said, everybody go grab some food. So I went to grab some food. I saw one of my girlfriends who taught on another side of town, and my cousin Joyce. And we were eating, and then I thought I heard my name. But it was like, nobody knows me here other than Fabian, and that wasn't Fabian's voice. Then I heard, hey, everybody get quiet. This was Mr. Mitchell talking. I heard the special guest was here. Carla Hooker, come forward. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. I'm not the special guest. I'm in trouble for being late. So I raised my hand. He said, come here. And I walked over towards him. I had on stilettos and my legs were wobbling like spaghetti noodles. And I was walking like I was intoxicated, but I wasn't. I was scared. So I got over to him finally, like all the way across this huge room with 350 dance teachers. And everybody's quiet. Nobody's talking at all because everybody wants to see what he's going to say to me. So I extend my hand, for peace and hoping that everything's going to be okay. And he swatted my hand away. Now I'm getting embarrassed and I'm ready to cry because this is in front of all of my peers from around the area. And I said, you don't want to shake my hand? And he said, no, I don't. I love you. I want to hug you. I love what you're doing with those kids. And he hugged me. And I mean, the tears just flowed down my face. The dancers started coming over. The ballerinas were curtsying to me. The men were kissing my hand. And it was a night I will never forget. Then Walter Raines, God rest his soul, said, can we tell her about the other surprise? And he was like, gee, can I tell something myself? He said, go ahead, Walter. Tell her, Walter. And he said, Mr. Mitchell decided he's going to give you a lifetime scholarship to the Dance Theater of Harlem. So it's just not you study with us and be done and we work with your kids, but we want to welcome you to our family for the rest of your life.
Wow.
And he meant that.
That would probably be like a huge turnaround or a beginning to, where you're at now. Would you say so?
Oh, yeah, because I didn't believe in myself, not the way he did. I believed that I could teach these kids and give them an outlet and keep them busy. And we do performances, but it really hadn't dawned on me the impact that I was making in the DC area and in the community until Arthur Mitchell recognized me. And he kept his promise. He would be at the Watergate Hotel and I could call and talk to him on the phone and say, I would really love to bring my dance parents and the kids to the performance. But he'd be like, but what, Carla? Spill it. And I'd say, everybody didn't have money for the tickets and I can't buy everybody's ticket. He would say, let me just call the Kennedy Center and tell such and such you need comp tickets and how many you need, and I'll see you all tonight, or I'll see you all tomorrow, whatever day the performance was. He did that all the time for me and for the kids. And I know that made an impact on all of them.
Yeah. And that's something that we share with so many people. Show up, press the button, and just be yourself. And so often we get in that mindset, oh, I'm going to be late. Oh, this, or we think the most negative thing that can possibly happen, and it doesn't happen. And this is why we share with people your energy, your vibration, your frequency is everything. And more importantly, your words carry weight internally and externally. And so I'm so glad you shared that, because I'm more than certain there's somebody right now or somebody that will listen to this and be like, you know what? I do need to just show up, and I do need to go to that event that I don't think I'm going to be good at, or I don't think I'm going to, be, seen, and just go, because you never know who you're going to meet, because we are all one conversation away from changing somebody else's life, changing our lives, and more importantly, for us to remember how far up the mountain we've came. And so
That's
with
right.
you being, an amazing dance educator, right, a pageant coach, there's always something that you have to debunk. Just like we have to debunk when we talk about the metaverse. Hey, you can join from your phone. You don't need those VR headsets. Press 4 buttons and come in here, and don't freak out, right? What is something that you would share from your industry that people should know about, that you shot from the mountaintops?
I believe that every dancer is different. And just like Mr. Mitchell with the Dance Theater of Harlem, you can look at all the dancers, and everybody's different sizes. They're from diverse backgrounds. They're different races, they're different shades, all of that. It doesn't matter. I have never turned away a kid because of their size. I've never said, oh, I'm only going to put the cookie cutter size ballerinas or dancers on the front row. Some of my best dancers have been plus size, just like I am now. I'm no longer a size 4 and 6 like I was when I started Carla's Kids back in 1990. And that's okay. I let the kids know, love the skin that you're in and dance anyway. And you would be surprised how much confidence they have, regardless of their size, their shape, their color, whether they have glasses, whether they have some type of disability. I've had kids who have had asthma, sickle cell, just like me, and other ailments, but they use that as a stepping stone. And instead of looking at it as a challenge, they look at it as their superpower, and they move forward, and they did a great job.
I love it.
That's
I
a
love
beautiful.
Go ahead,
I'll sharing this, kind of rolling into this next question as we wrap up this amazing conversation here, is love the skin you're in. We hear it all the time, but it truly is you being, you walking the walk, you loving your skin, whatever your, whether you're size 0 or size whatever. And, loving the fact that, whatever you're dealing with. I know so many people who have done dance that you would think they're not really that cookie cutter, as you say. And they're some of the most impressive people that you'll know, because they've, learned how to do their thing, as you should, as I would say. But, maybe what would be some advice that you would share or you would give to dancers or young kids, even for that matter, that are facing challenges, or maybe they might not be a part of Carla's Kids, and there's, people out there that are making fun of them because of the skin that they are in and they don't fit the cookie cutter. What would you tell them?
I would tell them, Tara, to turn off that outside noise. A lot of times people will say things about you. There was a boy, and it's in my other book that'll be coming out, my childhood memoir. He called me Miss Froggy because I had glasses when I started wearing glasses in the 3rd and 4th grade, and I had to wear them all the time. He started calling me Miss Froggy, and just, I had to learn that I stood up to the bully, which you can do, and you can do that in various ways. You can stand up to them physically, but you don't want to get yourself in trouble. You can speak your mind and say what you have to say, or you can just tune them out, because eventually they're going to go away and they won't even matter. They're not going to be with you the rest of your life. Also, I have physical challenges that are invisible myself. I'm a sickle cell warrior, and I deal with chronic pain on a daily basis. I'm also a long hauler, and I have injuries because of brain damage from lack of oxygen to my brain, but I don't let that stop me. It's just a small part of who I am. If I continued to focus on that, I would probably be over in a corner somewhere or lying in bed all day. You can do whatever you put your mind to. And I'm not saying that I don't have limitations. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the only limitations that you have are those that you put on yourself. If you really want to do it and you want to do it bad enough, then just try. Get out there and try and do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Throw the perfection out the window. Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
And so, share with us about your amazing new book that people definitely should go and get right now. Why, if you could, speak in somebody's ear for 30 seconds and say, hey, the book that you should be reading this year should be this one. What would you share with me? This
book right here with these two wonderful publishers and friends on the back. It's The Change. It's volume 20 that I'm in, Insights into Self-Empowerment. There are 20 authors in the book, plus the foreword to the book was written by my other mentor, the legendary, incomparable Mr. Les Brown. Go get the book. There's 20 stories in it from people who are from all walks of life, from all around the world, that give you insights to just helping empower you, making you feel better about yourself, letting you know that whatever challenge or struggle that you're going through or storm, this too shall pass. And each one of us tells a little bit about our own journey so that we help uplift you and encourage you. So get the book.
I love it. I love it. And even more so, right? This is where we are going to continue to be, networking with Miss Carla and being able to help her build her business, build her brand, and put it into the metaverse, upgrade her biz in a box, and really be able to showcase this to these youngsters. And so, we had you into our metaverse. And when I first sent you over the link, right, you sent me all these emojis like, oh my God, help, right? When you hit the link, how easy was it for you to drop into the metaverse?
It was easy. And let me say this to other people who are my age or not my age. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I'm not just saying that. David is not paying me to say that. Tara is not paying me to say that. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I'm really looking forward to Carla's kids becoming more relevant and more up to date and getting in this metaverse through Hello LLC. I'm excited. It's something new that is on the horizon with us. My board of directors is on board with this, and I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited about the entire venture.
I love it. And when you first sent that help and this, that, and the other, right? You allowed your mind to play tricks on you.
I did.
You allowed your mind to play tricks on you. And I even went over to Tara. I said, see, this is a prime example that when people get introduced to something new, it's like oh no, I'm not good at this. This isn't my cup of tea. Technology isn't me. Oh my goodness. And I say that because I was that person and living with my two parents or my one parent, no technology whatsoever. And I picked up that habit as well, which is what I share with you guys. Look, if I can do it, you can do it, because Tara can attest to this. Technology was not my cup of tea. You guys knowing who I am now, 8 years later, you'd be like, David, no way. Yes way. Text, email, phone. That was it. I didn't have no MySpace. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have none of that. My sister literally set up my Facebook when I got back home from college. And this is what I shared earlier in one of our lives, is that a lot of the times we talk about, turn your passion into profits. And a lot of people, well, I don't know a passion. Well, it's not that you're just going to find some passion and it's just going to come out of nowhere and just be like, ooh. You do something until you get good enough at it and you like doing it. That is your passion. Prime example with yourself, right? You saw dancing as an opportunity. It wasn't, the main focus, but once you dived into it and you start learning more and you start getting interested, boom, that's what it is. But it took you to actually do something. It took you to continuously be committed, be consistent at learning these things, and then it turns into a passion. And that's something that we remind you all to do, is to do something differently that you didn't do yesterday, because I can assure you success comes with, some struggles. It's going to come with, some things you don't want to do. And it's not all easy cupcakes and rainbows. It's going to be some pain. And on the other side of that pain is your passion, is your progression. And really, we encourage you guys all to just press the button just as you did. And now you're seeing how easy this is going to be compared to a Zoom, compared to an old-fashioned, Teams meeting, or telling people to meet me here, meet me there, or like for your book launch, you don't have to meet me at Starbucks anymore in this one location. You can now meet me in Metaverse, where I can read my book. You can ask me questions. This can be on all these live platforms. And now people from around the world can learn more about this, other than you worried about the Bartista calling out other people's names, people coming in asking if you're using that chair, or it just being noisy and loud where you can't get the table like you want to be. And even Barnes and Noble's going to take 30% of your book. They're going to charge you anywhere from $500 to $5,000 depending on the location, and then you got to pay for the staff. And just with this Hello Plaza in Metaverse, we blow that out of the water. And this is where we share with people the future is already here. And so us that are utilizing these social audio apps, yes, that is a version of us upgrading, but now being in this 3D immersive environment, you didn't have to get your hair dressed. I ain't got no hair, so I ain't got to worry about it. You ain't got to get your makeup or anything of that sort. You just pop up in here with your avatar and you're off to the races.
Love it. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Ms. Carla, as we wrap up this amazing conversation and Mr. Jones sharing that amazing information he just shared with us, share with everybody, first of all, where they can find you, how they can get a hold of you, if they are interested in, anything dance related, or if they're interested in how to get your book. Please share that, will you?
They can go to my Facebook page. It's just Carla with a C. Carla, C-A-R-L-A, Hooker, just like it sounds, H-O-O-K-E-R, Carla Hooker. And I will, the links are already on my Facebook page for the book. You just tap the link and it will take you directly to Ingram Sparks. That's my distributor for my book. And the website is www.carlas, with the K, carlaskidsdance.org. Not .com, .org.
Make sure you guys go get it.
Love it.
And so without further ado, we appreciate you so much, Ms. Carla, for giving us your time. As we share with people, time is our only competition. So that should be your competition, and we're on the same side. And not just collaboration, but understanding that collaboration is the new currency. And you bringing your friends, us having our friends, we've now became friends, and now we can grow together. And as always, there's enough room for all of us to grow. There's no need for anybody to be number one, because there's enough abundance for us all to win and prosper as we see fit, as long as we're able to open up the four most expensive things. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, love,
kindness,
integrity,
but most importantly,
consistency and commitment. And until next time, toodles.
Toodles, y'all. Thanks for being here.
Bye, everybody.